welcome to episode 2. Today's topic is WWDC 24. I'm Michelle.
And I'm Ryan.
And we're here to have discussions and give you some of our unsolicited opinions so you don't have to watch it yourself.
Now, I will tell you that my opinion is going to be coming from a long-time Samsung user. I have been a dedicated Samsung phone user for the last 10 years.
And I am a huge Apple fan, if you haven't picked up on that already. And I've been an iPhone user since iPhone 4.
Wow. So it's going to be interesting to see our different opinions. Can they convince me that they've come up with some interesting stuff?
I must talk about the thing that excites me the most. It looks like Severance is coming back.
It's about time. I thought they completely severed.
Are you a Severance fan, Ryan?
I'm a huge Severance fan.
I'm a big fan of Severance, the show on Apple TV. And that show is the only reason I ever paid for Apple TV. Season 1 was online between February to April 2022. And I love that show so much. I got my hairdresser and my colleagues all excited I forced them to watch it, basically.
Yeah, she was telling everybody all about it.
And then I promised them, because that's what Severance had promised us at the time, the next season will just come out in February 2023.
It did not.
What is now?
It's now June 2024, and they're just now finally giving us a trace of hope.
Yeah.
That it's going to be showing up again.
In the very beginning of the WWDC 24.
Yes, they were smart about that. They likely know that people are very interested.
Or people are pissed.
Pissed, and yes.
It's about time for people to forget about this show altogether.
Yeah, we were about to forget about it.
I've lost all hope.
I know. We were severed ourselves from ever believing we would see it again.
Yeah, so I think that's probably the biggest contribution of this presentation, this keynote presentation, is there's hope for Severance Season 2.
Exactly. Now, there were several other components of Apple TV that were highlighted as well. So beyond just the amazing news of Severance coming back, Michelle, what were a few other things that caught your eye?
Well, one thing that have caught my eye is going to bring me a lot of pain. So apparently with this new update, you can now check out the name of the actor and exactly what song is playing when you're watching on Apple TV the moment you want to.
Yes, apparently you can just swipe up or something and it's going to tell you the actress, the actor's name.
The actress name.
I'm very particularly interested in that because often when I see somebody of interest, I have to go look them up right away, get their information, their background, all that stuff. But now I'm going to be able to do that right there on the screen, which of course is going to be really upsetting for Michelle. And we might be making one of those like breakup videos in the future in the next podcast.
At least now you're looking it up in front of me, so I don't need to do a random phone check.
Oh, yeah, those random phone. But anyway, speaking of random phone check, stay tuned for a little bit later, guys, because there's a really cool system that they put in place where you can actually hide apps on your phone from other people even being able to see them. So we'll go into that in a lot more detail later.
So if you tell me you need to go to Best Buy and get one of these iPhone 15 Pro, I'll know why.
Yes. Now, that is something that I realized I might want to switch over for. But we'll wait. I'm still a dedicated Samsung fan.
So another feature I thought is just so overdue is the voice enhancing feature on Apple TV. So I watched a documentary on YouTube, and the old movies, you can clearly hear all the dialogue between the actors. But the new movies, people are so into the sound effect, the crazy visual effect, car chase, machine gun, Transformers. Like that kind of sound is so overwhelming. You can barely hear the dialogues between actors.
Yeah, and you often will have to change the volume up and down, depending on whether there's dialogue, you have to raise it up. And then all of a sudden you're shocked by some random explosion, other horrible noise or blast of music for dramatic effect. And then your ears are shattered. and you have to lower it again, and then you can no longer hear anyone talking.
And I'm all about hearing exactly what they're saying because when you're trying to talk while I'm watching the TV, I am really mad.
Yes, I can never interrupt or anything, but maybe now if the dialogue is loud enough, then I'll be able to talk.
And you'll be able to be drowned out.
Yes. Yes, very funny.
Isn't that a great feature?
Yes.
And when you're done watching or taking a break from watching, Apple have introduced a sleep screens.
Yes, and one of the highlights is their sleep screen that you can have Snoopy hopping around, going into his little home. And I've noticed that Snoopy is very popular on eBay. So it seems like a lot of people are still interested in Snoopy.
Yeah, it is kind of interesting that they chose Snoopy over anything. Do you know, Snoopy's origin?
I guess the point is that he often will go up onto his doghouse and start sleeping there.
So what is that supposed to mean? Apple is in the doghouse?
No, not Apple in the doghouse. It's just that you're not watching. Just like Snoopy, you're probably asleep.
Oh, that is so smart.
Yeah.
Well, I would prefer something else.
Well, maybe you'll be able to customize it and that there will be multiple ones.
Yeah, they do have other options like your picture, your portrait, sceneries, like the desert. But that's nothing new, though. We've been doing that, on YouTube.
I know. YouTube has had that for a couple of months now. But I'm glad that at least Apple is trying to catch up.
Yeah, so you were telling me, Ryan, that you are really excited for some feature on iPhone, even as a longtime Samsung user.
Yes. So admittedly, I was watching this. I was anticipating not to be excited by anything because there was a lot of customization that has already been established in Samsung for a long time. You could rearranging the apps and all that. The guy was very animated in describing how he could. Craig was jumping around telling us how he could rearrange the apps, which is something I've been doing for years. But then he came up with this idea that you could actually hide an app. Now think about that. Think about the Instagram, if you're worried about your DMs, you might just be able to hide that Instagram app and it didn't say, oh, I got rid of it. Or what if you're on one of those dating apps, You can just hide it around, and it won't, and then you can hand somebody off your phone and say, look, it's clean. Everything is good.
In my next random phone check, if I can't find your Instagram app, I know you didn't delete it.
No, I'm always going to delete it. But, fortunately for me, I don't have this update yet. But that's just something to be on the lookout for. And something
you're going to lock an app too? You're going to lock it? Or
you can hide it. You can lock it. This is for privacy, of course. Privacy, because that's very important. Just the other day, I lost my phone. You can lock your banking apps and everything if you're using it for more practical purposes rather than
not for
shady business. No, but it has real good practical use as well.
Yeah, I can imagine practical use. Oftentimes you're trying to show your friend something, but maybe you've been talking shit about them.
Ooh. Talking smack, we'll say.
Okay, you've been talking smack about them in some other context. So you don't want them to see that. So just hope you separate, your kosher conversations from the smack talk conversations and separate them into separate apps. And with this feature rolling out, now you can lock it.
Exactly. And you can be very transparent. Just like the guy on one of the shows we watched was very happy to talk about how he was sharing his location all the time.
Oh, yeah. That was...
Love is Blind.
Yeah, so Love is Blind, the most recent season. And there was a guy who was sharing his location. And I guess the location may not be recorded. You have to check it contemporaneously.
Well, he was anticipating that, you have to check it constantly. It's a live action. It's not recorded. So he was anticipating the person he was dating to be asleep when he was out doing his business with somebody else. So he was like, look, I'm sharing my information. But she happened to have woken up, maybe a quick bout of IBS or something, and then saw where he was in the middle of some other woman's apartment. and he thought he was all hot stuff for sharing his location.
Yeah, I think that may be out of the scope of what Apple's trying to achieve here, but that is a good lesson. Like, don't think you can fool me.
Yes.
You never know when I'll be tapping on your location.
Yes. Now, speaking of which, you can now nod your head to answer phones with with the AirPods. Why don't you tell me about your AirPod experience?
Yeah, so let me tell you about my AirPod experience. I did not want to pay for AirPod Pro, so I got like the AirPod 3, where you cannot adjust a little piece that goes into your ear.
Oh, no.
And my ear holes are tiny, and I am an extremely sweaty person.
Oh, my.
Would you agree with that?
Yes.
Yeah, I would sweat in my ears, and the AirPods would just fall out.
They fall right out of your ears.
Yeah, so I hate those things.
I see.
So I would never put another AirPod in my ear ever again.
Oh, my.
But I must say,
Features?
the new features don't solve my problem.
I see.
Next time, get a sweat-soaking AirPod, then we'll talk.
Yeah, so we need antiperspirant AirPods.
Yeah. So, but as an Apple fan, I'm not just gonna run off to Samsung or whatever other brand there is. Bose, or I do like Bose.
Yeah, Bose are good.
But I am not just gonna run off, get some other like AirPod-looking things. What I'm gonna do is I have my AirPod Max.
Oh, yeah, those big ones.
Yeah, so I like them a lot.
Okay, and they signal to the other people around you to leave you alone.
Yeah, I don't know if you'll be able to knock your head no or shake your head yes. Did I say that right?
Nod your head.
Nod your head yes and shake your head no with the AirPod Max. I hope they do.
There ought to be a simple update.
Yeah, maybe not, but it doesn't matter because I don't even pick up any calls.
Oh! You're one of them folks,
But
aren't you?
if you're one of those people who have AirPods in all the time, now you don't need to tap 1, tap 2, tap 3. You just need to shake your head no and nod your head yes.
Yeah, you got it.
And what else do we know? Oh, about texting. What did you think of that text? I guess you're not part of the iMessage family.
No, I wish they would be able to expand it to accept other, Samsung users and stuff like that as well. But I did hear that what they're going to try to do to make it interesting is that you could actually communicate with satellites as long as, even if you have no service, you'll somehow be able to connect with other iPhone users to the satellite.
Yeah, that would be good. But your spouse is an iPhone user and you're not. So if I'm trapped on the top of
Mount Kilimanjaro.
I was gonna say Mount Everest.
Well, then you would be international anyway. I guess Kilimanjaro is too.
What's that president thing?
Mount Rushmore.
Yeah, if I'm trapped on top of Mount Rushmore and I have no service and I send you a text via satellite. I'm your spouse, okay? You need to change to an iPhone.
But didn't you just say that I couldn't change to it because of all this app hiding features?
Well, we know Samsung's just gonna catch up, and now you're gonna be able to hide these damn apps on Samsung.
Okay, all right. Well, let's get back on track here.
All right, custom tap bags. So for my iMessage users out there, in the past we can only give a few reactions.
Oh, like a thumbs up or a thumbs down.
Yeah, so if I tap on it, there's a heart, thumb up, thumbs down, haha, exclamation point, and a question mark. I am happy with that. I suppose we can always add a sticker. Those functions are already there. But now we can customize those tap bags entirely.
Nice.
So
And what's interesting is that, so I've been using Slack a lot. And Slack has already implemented a lot of these, and I've been enjoying them.
you do?
Yeah, because you can do little emojis. They even have cats and
Yeah.
all sorts of animals.
Yeah, I remember
Kinda
now,
fun.
Microsoft Teams, which I've been using a lot. Also, you can just react with whatever emojis you want.
Yeah, so I'm glad that Apple's bringing that to texting rather than having to do it on the Slack or Teams.
I suppose, I guess it's just too much. Like, if you're in a freaking group chat and everyone's trying to react any type of way, how are you going to keep track of it?
Yeah, that's one problem is when you have multiple people, you can't actually see, at least on the mobile device, you can't see who said what, who reacted in which way.
Or I'm just going to like zone out altogether if you give me so many choices. Like,
Yeah.
I can't be dealing with that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know.
Personally, I don't think this tap back's exactly what I want. Or maybe I'm just going to keep my old ways.
Yeah, well, that's the nice part is you can keep your old ways, but then there's going to be a lot of people that will be able to express themselves more broadly. And then they won't even have to reply back with words. So if they do, that's what I use it for primarily. If I don't really want to write a text back, but I want to demonstrate that I've got the message, then I tap that back. Then I do the tap back. So,
Yeah, I appreciate you expressing that because I'm a word person.
yeah, you are a woman of many words.
You've been talking too.
I'm sorry. Let's continue on.
So for the photo app, that's where we see the most practical upgrade come in. Apple claims this is the biggest redesign ever. It will automatically organize your photos by days, people, and trips.
Yeah, and I think that this is a pretty good improvement in terms of the photo organization. I've always liked the way the gallery that Samsung uses, but I admit, even from my standpoint, that what Apple has done looks pretty visually appealing, and it just seems nice to look at.
Yeah, and you can hide all the screenshots you take.
Yeah, I take a lot of screenshots.
Yeah, me too.
And so it allows you to separate them out. Now, admittedly, Samsung put screenshots into another category already, but at least Apple has decided to do that as well.
Yeah, so while we're on the photo app, just to intersect a little bit with the topic of Siri, you can pull out the exact photo you're thinking about yourself, scrolling and scrolling and scrolling. You can just say, I want that screenshot I took of my wife.
Exactly. And that's going to be really valuable to save a lot of time. And if you have multiple screenshots, I think it'll get a bunch of them and put it into its own grouping. Then you can scroll through and find the exact one that you want.
Yeah, only if you can also just direct Siri to reorganize all your photos for you.
Yeah. And maybe that'll be an update in the future.
Yeah, I imagine if you have this implemented, this will be an easy way. I don't know how many of you guys have the Apple Watch, but a good number of us have the Apple Watch. I'm actually now on my third Apple Watch, which is, not even,
That frequent.
Yeah, I started with Apple Watch 2. Actually, one of my friends told me, oh, you don't need Apple Watch 2. You're never going to use the GPS. Why don't you get an Apple Watch 1? Because, he had an Apple Watch 1. But like, why would I buy Apple Watch 1 when I have when there's Apple Watch 2?
Yeah, you're always about the latest and the greatest.
Yeah, the hardware is going to be better.
Exactly.
But anyways, I digress. So I have, I believe, the newest Apple Watch 2. I did not want to get the new iPhone, the new Apple Watch. But this girl at Verizon, she told me, I think you deserve it.
Yeah, she said she deserves the best. And also it came with her new phone, too.
Yeah, but now I think I need to thank her because otherwise I have to upgrade my phone and my watch potentially to be qualified for some of these new features.
Yep.
For the WatchOS improvement, as your everyday Jane, mediocrely active, you would say. I do work out here and there.
Some would say she's a little lazy.
Hey,
Sorry.
what about you?
I mean, I'm even lazier.
Okay, good. So I am somewhat lazy, mediocrely active. I personally feel that my watch is recording all the data I could possibly need. And I don't really have the bandwidth to incorporate additional data. But if you are aspiring athlete or professional athlete, maybe you benefit from the new WatchOS update.
Yeah, there seems to be a lot of tracking features, comparison features, and they're even instituting an entirely new app that will record information for you daily.
Vital.
It's called the vitals. It'll monitor all your vitals, especially while you're sleeping as well. And then it'll tell you if you're going out of range from your typical daily vitals.
Based on the demo, it will even ask you the question, oh, have you been sleeping well? Or have you been drinking a lot of alcohol? I think these are important things for us to consider because it doesn't take much for one person to go from feeling really good to feeling tired and low energy all the time simply because they have more parties recently or for whatever reason they've not been sleeping well.
Yeah, and it can help you keep track of the patterns and recognize, all right, well, if I'm drinking every day, this is probably why I'm tired.
So the biggest thing they're advertising to me is this Apple Vision Pro.
Yeah.
Now, I've known about this for a while, but never looked into it because the stiff price tag. It is $3,500 to $4,000.
Yeah, and that's a pretty steep hill to climb.
If I have the money, I would upgrade my MacBook Pro rather than getting a pair of goggles.
Yes, and they have these strange artificial-looking eyes that are blinking to sort of simulate your eyes so that other people, when they look at you, they don't just see a blank screen, they actually see eyes. That's a little strange to me.
Oh, Apple.
Yes.
The Apple Vision Pro is definitely a luxury, not a requirement, and it doesn't serve a required function right now for a typical person in their life.
But it does seem very exciting, and it seems sort of a groundbreaking technology for entertainment. And also, even for us nature enthusiasts and photographers, it seems that Canon R7 is going to be pairing up with the Vision Pro for this real immersive experience, so that you can, bring a whole new level to photography.
So now what you're going to do is go to the camera store, but upgrade your Canon to Canon R7
Yes.
with this immersive feature, and you film in the woods, you film a bunch of birds, you film a bunch of snakes, whatever, and you hope some of your audience has the Apple Vision Pro so they can experience your photography in an immersive
manner. Exactly. And they have all sorts of things that allow you to bring the images to life, create a 3D structure to your 2D images. So that's very interesting, but I feel like it's something that it's a little bit in the future before I'm willing to invest into something like that.
Yeah, I think we're talking about $10,000 to $12,000 worth of upgrade here.
Yeah.
Is it really worth it? Well, if you really need animals surround you at all times, I think that may be worth it.
Yes, this could be worth it for you.
Yeah, let's say if you're like a person who just went through surgery and you're bedridden, the only thing that brings you joy is Ryan's nature videos. Yeah, if I get a surgery like that, I would, if I have the money, like if I win the lottery, I would invest in the Apple Vision Pro, and I will make you invest in the Canon R7. And then I'll sit on my bed, my hospital bed, and enjoy nature.
Yeah, that's a really good point, actually. And I don't know that they're marketing in that context, but I think that's an important group of people that would potentially be valuable for.
Actually, I think we're up to something here.
Yeah.
Because as a photographer, you can certainly invest in Canon R7 or any photographer because this is their livelihood. Upgrading your equipment comes with that.
Yeah.
And in a hospital itself can invest in some of these.
They can have it for the patient who are bedridden, and it's possible that they can do a deal with Apple to be able to, have certain beds that come available with this technology, especially for people that are there for weeks at a time.
Yeah, you can buy all the Apple product on Apple Card, or you can just finance it with some other financing service. So essentially, you'll just be paying a few $100s a month for 12 to 24 months.
Yeah.
And you can rent it out to patient for $10 a day. I actually think that's a no-brainer.
Yeah. That would be great. Well, very cool. Very good idea. That's something we can even start pitching to them.
Yeah, actually, you can be the photographer.
Yes. I can provide some of the beta footage.
Yeah, so one of the more practical use for Apple Vision Pro is you're actually liberated to work anywhere. You look a little bit strange with this gigantic goggle on your face, on your head, but you can project extra monitors, whatever you want, on your goggles. So you can work anywhere you want. You're not kidnapped to where your extra computer screen is.
Yeah, and you also don't really have to see the people that are looking at you either. You don't have to see the looks that they're giving you.
Yeah, so I suppose when those people come near you and say, hey, give me your Apple Vision Pro goggles, or I will shoot you.
Yeah.
That wouldn't be good.
No, but I think there's some sense you can get an idea if somebody's approaching you.
No. I think that's a terrible idea. You should only use it in a safe environment and maintain your situation awareness.
I see. Social distancing.
That is for today's part 1, WWDC 2024.
All right, so in conclusion, be on the lookout for the public beta release for the iOS 18 and all those updates we've been talking about. That should be coming out in sometime in July.
Well, thank you guys so much for hearing our unsolicited opinion of part 1 of WWDC 24. Next week, part 2 will cover Apple Intelligence, Siri, and Apple's collaboration, a decision that Apple made to collaborate with OpenAI.
Yes, sounds great. All right, see you guys next week.
Bye.
Bye.